we go, put this miserable song on repeat. Cause you seem to forget how much you are hurting me. Do what's right, you say you will, but then you don't. You just don't. You don't care, cause you don't take me seriously. What's there to repair if you don't want to talk to me? You should know your time is up, I'm out, I'm done. So I'm putting you on a lifetime sentence, and you'll no longer feel my presence. So you thought I would let this slip. Thought you knew me so much better. You're on a lifetime sentence, so now you never feel my presence. So you thought I would let this slip. Thought you knew me so much better. So you thought I would let this slip. Thought you knew me so much better. Yeah, yeah. So you thought I would let this slip. No, that's right. Your words don't mean a thing to me. Sleepless night, your love has left us incomplete. Thinking that your promises will fit so loud. Oh, that's right. So I'm putting you on a lifetime sentence, and you'll no longer feel my presence. So you thought I would let this slip. Thought you knew me so much better. You're on a lifetime sentence, so now you never feel my presence.
There we go.
So you thought I would.
All right. Thought you knew me so much better. If you can check this out, check this out, check this out. We are entering into a new phase in live streaming. This is going to be epic, what YouTube has finally allowed us to do. Now I can actually limit the chat room to only members of the channel anytime I want to. So what is a member of the channel? It's the little join button down here. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Let's see. It's the little, it's right here. It's right there, the join button. What the join button allows you to do is look at Gerald Moore. Gerald Moore's name is in green. Gerald Moore gets the hot fire emoji. Gerald Green gets community members only posts, members only videos, members only live streams, members only functions. So how many times have you come into a live stream and wished that you could get your question answered and I could see it? Well, when I enable members only chat, that means I'm only looking at members. Now, Super Chat will still be there. The benefit of being a member is going to grow over time. It's a new function, it's a new feature. But the main thing it is going to cut down on is a lot of the bullshit. A lot of bullshit. So if you are a Patreon, this is a different feature. You can be a patron and not a member. So I will be toying with the members only chat, but when I can tell you this, when I start going into high level topics like business, and I really want to have a discussion going, I'm going to start enabling members only chat. So if it ain't but 5 people asking questions in members only chat, I'll answer those 5 people. That means, what that means is there won't be any chat for anybody else. You can still watch, you can have it turned on in the background, but what it really is going to stop people from doing is coming on to live streams and just coming over here talking about whatever the hell they want to talk about, interrupting streams, diverting topics. No. You know, I don't like that. So Be prepared when I say it. All you have to do is click member to join, and it's $4.99. You can use your PayPal, your credit card, whatever. And I will say this, you don't see a join button? It's there. I have mobile. I'm on my mobile. Let me see. Let me before I say that, let me double check. Yep, there's the subscribe button. It should be right next to the subscribe button. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into this. Let me make sure that it's also not too loud, the music. All right, let me go ahead and shut this music down, and hope you guys can hear me. I have a fan playing in the background for a reason. The fan is on because, guys, it's hot in here. It's hot in here. And yeah, that's just what it's going to be. So the title of this stream is Engineering a Career. If you, let me say this too. If you're not joining me on Instagram, you are missing a whole lot of, you're missing daily live streams. Simple as that. You're missing daily live streams where I really get down and talk to the CIA and FBI family. So go to Instagram right goddamn now and join Instagram. Go to Instagram right now and join me. I'll give you 30 seconds to pop over there. Matter of fact, let me do it for you. Instagram and Facebook are two platforms I am going to be using heavily when I move to Atlanta, because it is so easy to go live on Facebook or on Instagram when I'm doing this daily blog thing. So that's what you're going to need to, that's where you're going to need to go. Here is my Instagram right here. So let's talk business. Let's talk business. Here it is. Let's talk business. Shout out to the CIA, One Love, FBI. If you're on, I've already mentioned that I'm going to be talking about business much more on this platform, because I got to admit, and this is no shot at anybody, but of all the people I see on YouTube, I can't think of anybody else who's on YouTube in this sector that actually came from corporate America and had a long career in corporate America. Most people have done different things, but I don't. And if somebody knows somebody who's a YouTuber who has like 20,000, a YouTuber with a look, guys, I just don't know anybody. I don't know anybody who has a corporate career. Most of the people I know are blue collar, or they were doing something else. I'm not only a business owner, an entrepreneur, but I had a long corporate career. A long corporate career that when I left high school, I knew I was going to be in corporate America. Let's talk about it, because there is so much that people don't know about how to move in white collar corporate America, because most of us, include like myself, were first time people in that environment. So a little background about me for people who don't know. My entire family is blue collar, factory workers, and military. No one ever went to work in corporate America, meaning everybody had a job. Even the people who weren't in the military or in the factory, at best, they were like a lab tech or something like that. Basically, every job everybody had in my family, all you needed was a high school diploma. I was the first person to go to college. I knew nothing about college and university other than you were supposed to go. I graduated 5th in my class. I scored perfect back when I took the ACT in math and science. So I was technically literate, and I went to school and I had a scholarships. So basically, I had to learn all this stuff on my own. I was accepted to Brown and Columbia, but I did not get enough scholarship money to go Ivy League. I qualified for Ivy League, but I couldn't go. I ended up going to the University of Oklahoma. So I'm in school. And if you've ever asked a parent to help you with homework when you're in high school, you quickly learn that your parents don't know more than you do, so you can't ask nobody. So you got to do all this on your own. So my freshman year, I decided I went to school, engineering undecided, because I wanted to go to medical school. Yep, I went engineering medical school. My freshman year was a wake-up call, because I went from being the fifth of my class to being around all these national merit scholars and everything else, and I was in honors. I was in honors in the engineering in the sector. So that means when I was in chemistry 101, I was in chemistry with national merit scholars, gunning scholars, the best of the best of the best in my chemistry class. When we broke out into lab, there were 30 people in our lab, and everybody else was in their own scholarship. So basically, what I'm painting a picture of is a guy who grew up in the projects, the ghetto, who made good grades in high school and went to college and was just out in this massive ocean. I didn't know anything about how this worked. And there wasn't a lot of information because we didn't have an internet back then. So every semester, fall or spring, they have something called a career fair. Didn't know anything about these. Career fairs are where all these companies come in: Exxon, Mobil, Shell, Chevron, Coca-Cola, AT&T, the brands that you know that are in Best Buy or in your or in your local department stores. They come here and they send their recruiters to talk to college students around the country. If somebody comes in here off top, why is Cashmere? Cashmere, why are you dominating the chat? Why is everybody's chat? Let me see. Make sure that it's not still set to members only. No? All right, Cashmere, chill out, man. All I see is your name all through our chat. You're supposed to be moderating, not having conversations. Moderators, you're supposed to moderate, not talk. Dominate the chat. I don't want to look over and see all blue. So, career fair. I didn't know what a career fair was. But I knew one thing, that I needed a highlighter. A highlighter, you know, when you go through your book and highlight it, to keep your eye on certain passages. I was so broke in college, I couldn't even afford a highlighter. So at the student union at the University of Oklahoma, they were having a career fair. And I saw people coming from the student union with all these highlighters and pens and notepads and all these school supplies. And I'm like, Cashmere, did you hear what I said, man? Chill out on the convo. All I saw was people coming out with these school supplies. I asked somebody, I was like, where are y'all getting all these school supplies? So they told me there's a career fair going on at the student union. I'm in a sweatshirt, shorts, and a fraternity hat. It's my spring semester. I walk into the student union, and it's like I walked into this huge convention I had never seen before. And I see all these people I normally see on campus. And I see everybody dressed in their best $5 suit. Around these recruiters at these booths, sitting there listening. And I see people I've seen on campus for an entire semester, and they're all sitting there looking attentive. And I'm like, there's some shit going on here I don't know about. And every recruiter would have a little spiel that they would do. If you ever been to a convention or where they ever have vendor booths, that's what it's set up like. Look, man, I'm on my way to class. I heard you can come. So I walked up to the mobile booth. Mobile and Exxon used to be number 1 and 2 competitors in oil and gas and chemical industry. And I saw Mobile. I knew Mobile. I walked over there and the recruiter was talking to 15 people and they're all sitting there attentively taking notes in their best $5 suits. And I said, oh, excuse me. And I just reached in and grabbed the highlighter. The recruiter looked at me like, that's odd. And I'm like, all right, cool. So, and everybody else was sitting there taking notes. And they looked at me like, so anyway, he had finished his speech and he said, everybody was kind of putting their, they had put their resumes on the state table. Resumes was like this deep, okay? I didn't know. So what ends up happening? The recruiter says, hey, hi. My name is Lane. What's your name? Kevin. Nice to meet you, Kevin. Do you have a resume? No, I don't. Actually, he asked me what I was going to school for. By this time, I had decided on chemical engineering. I said, chemical engineering. He's like, you have a resume? I'm like, no, I don't. He's like, huh. Like, well, why'd you stop by that mobile booth? I was like, honestly, I needed a highlighter. True story. I needed a highlighter. Oh, okay. We chit-chatted a bit. He's like, here's my card. Here's my card. Give me a call. This is back in the day before cell phones, before email, and all this stuff, right? So he asked me to call him. So I called him on a Monday. I'm like, hey, Lane, this is Kevin. This is Kevin, the guy. He's like, hey, yeah, man. We would love for you to come out so we can give you a tour of our plant. I'm like, all right. Again, I don't know what the fuck's going on. He's like, give you a tour of the plant. Sure. They can bring a copy of your resume. All right, go, no problem. It was in Shawnee, Oklahoma. Shawnee is an hour and a half away. I knew people who worked at this plant. I thought he was gonna give me a tour. I drive out in my 1982 Knight Rider Trans Am, pull up, park, and I walk in and security's like, hey, hi, I'm here to see Lane. Oh, okay, Lane, Kevin's here to see you. They come in, give him a name tag. So we walk through and they show me accounting and everything else. They show me the front office. Then we walk back through the plant. And just so you know, I'm telling the truth. This was the mobile chemical plant where they made oriented polypropylene. I told you I know shit. Oriented polypropylene, little bitty plastic polymer pellets that gets crushed into trash bags. You're down with OPP, oriented polypropylene. So I'm watching all these, and as I went from the front office, I went out to the plant, and the plant's full of blue collar people like my family. I saw people that worked there. I saw people that my parents knew, my folks knew. Because when you worked in factories, people kind of know each other. We go through the plant and they're showing me the plant and the extruders and all this other kind of stuff. And I'm just like, oh, this is cool. Then we go up to the quality control lab. When they show me the quality control lab and all this other kind of stuff and how they do some testing, then they go to the quality and productivity lab. And I see that kind of stuff. Then I go back, more quality control was we go right to the offices. So you go snake your way through this entire plant. It takes about an hour. And they're giving me the tour. And I'm talking to people along the way. Meet the manager of quality and productivity. His name was Rene. He was from France. I mean, really from France. These people use no deodorant. He had the French accent and smelled very French. Anyway, I'll go back and I'm sitting around talking with Lane and a few of the people on the quality control and chit chatting and whatever. We go to the cafeteria to have lunch. It's about 4 hours into it. I'm having a ball. Then as we're leaving, Lane says, all right, nice to see you. Look forward to seeing you again. I'm like, okay. And then I go back to accounting and they're gonna, let me out and everything. He's like, well, I met the manager. He's like, well, how'd you like it? I'm like, it was great. It was interesting. I learned this. I saw that. I did this. I saw that. And he's like, and you know what? And we've heard good things about you too. He's like, we'd like to offer you an internship for this. We'd like to offer you an internship this summer. And we'd love to see if you could join the mobile family. I swear to God, hand to God, I did not know I was being interviewed. I did not know any of this shit. But I was smart enough to know. I was like, sounds good. Great. We're going to start you off at $20 an hour, back when minimum wage was still $3.35 an hour. Start me off at $20 an hour. I was making more than anybody in my family was making. I get to my car because I'm trying to play this shit off cool, right? Take out my name tag. I get in my car. I'm like, these people just offered me a job. Now understand, I was a 2.7 GPA college student. I was in the middle of the pack. I was not above or below. I was in the middle. Nobody was recruiting me. Exxon and all these companies, they wanted you to make a 3.0 minimum before they even talk to you. But by the fact that I just went to the career fair to grab a lighter and I actually had a conversation with somebody, I jumped all the way to the fucking top of the pack to where they actually recruited me to come out to do a tour of the plant, to where they offered me a job as an intern. And there were people who were killing themselves for this. This was the moment that my life changed. Because then because then your godfather's always been your godfather. I went to do that internship commuting from Oklahoma City to Shawnee every day, but I went in there and I worked my fucking ass off. I went in there just like anybody else and I applied myself because like I tell you guys, all I need is a shot. I got my shot. I went in there and I learned everything that I could about my project, learned everything about quality and productivity. I didn't just learn one thing, I learned it all because I'm like, Jesus Christ, here's my shot. I'm in the big leagues now. I'm going to make it. Here's, as an aside, my high school sweetheart, my ex-wife, who went to Purdue at the time, actually landed a fucking internship at the same place in a different department. Wow. So I'm coming into work in the summer, and actually I was making $22.50 an hour. I still don't know. At this time, I still don't know why they picked. I didn't know why they picked me. I get an offer letter in the mail. Yeah, they send you a letter saying we'd like to offer you this, and it spells it all out. I'm used to filling out McDonald's applications, people. I'm used to washing dishes. I'm not used to getting letters from companies like Mobile with people's names on it and general manager and engineer this person. I'm not used to getting official letterhead, embossed, full package. They send all these benefits. I'm like, what is this shit? I can't take it to my family. No one can tell me. So I go into a library and I start asking people, how, what? And people on the yard are like, you got an internship at Mobile? I'm like, how the hell did you? And my buddy, my brother, my Kane, he had already worked at Mobile one semester. He was coming into school on an Exxon scholarship. So my sophomore year, I got an internship at Mobile Chemical. Now, my buddy had already worked his freshman year at Mobile. So needless to say, everybody was shocked. I was shocked. I didn't know what the hell was going on, but I did my summer. Because see, when you leave college, if you have an internship, you go to a different state and they pay you what they pay engineers. They pay you what they pay everybody else for a short period. There's a relocation bonus. There's a relocation amount. They tend to be set up with housing, and you're getting paid at the level that engineers or whoever you're getting paid in at that time. For a college student, this is fantastic because here's what happens. For the guys who don't have internships, you automatically jump yourself way up here because not only are you in school, but you have work experience. And getting one internship can lead into a completely different career path. Completely different, because companies look at people who had internships to give internships to. So again, I'm an average student at best. You heard how I fell into an internship, but I worked the hell out of that internship. I'm gonna take a break right now for you guys to get the likes up, because I'm teaching you guys something right here, and God damn it, you're gonna do something about it. 154 people watching. You got 5 dumb motherfuckers who downvoted the live stream. These are people who obviously never did anything in their life. Y'all want me to continue to go on with this? Because I can actually stop it right now if nobody really cares. Because I had to learn all this, and this stuff is invaluable. If you want me to go on, let me know. I'm looking through the chat room, man. I'm seeing y'all talking about all kind of shit other than what I'm talking about. So here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna put some money in that damn super chat, because I'm reading through all this stuff. I'm looking at everybody else's comment. If you want me to proceed, put some money in super chat. I need at least 5 people to put something in super chat if we go on, because I don't need to know this shit. I already know how to do it. And I haven't even got started. But this is how I became a vice president from the projects. If the information is invaluable, I'm gonna put a value on it. From the projects to vice president to owning my own business. There you go. Let's go ahead, and you want to put it in a Cash App, put it there. Appreciate it, Danielle. See, this is the kind of shit that we don't talk about that needs to get talked about. Don't let him be the only one. See, if I'm assuming the people I'm talking to, you must want to have a career too. If you can't put $1 in it, $2, $5, come on, man. This is why we don't get anywhere, because this kind of information, no one could tell me how to do this. Do I accept Bitcoin? No. Appreciate it. Go GMB Fit. Appreciate it, Dennis. Appreciate it, Jessica. That's what's up, Actual Factual. All right, we got 5 people, because I want to tell this story. All right, so so I go to do the internship. Now, here's the thing. I was an average student at best. I came from a 3A high school. I didn't come from a top school, but one thing that I could do was apply myself. I went to work early. I stayed late. I started talking to people because I did not want to fuck this up, because I knew that I really got lucky. Lane picked me because Lane saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself. And Lane was a white guy from Missouri. Christian white guy from Missouri, salt of the earth. But I went in there and I learned everything I could. When I'm at my internship, the project we were working on, I applied myself so much to where when the internship was over, now, like I said about internships set you up this way. It gives you valuable work experience while paying you real world money. So the money you make in an internship in 3 months can actually fund your entire college year if you play your cards right. And when you get that internship and you nail it and you get a letter of recommendation, that is what you put on top of your resume when you send your resumes out. So let me move forward. The project was so so much needed. Appreciated Engineering Cannabis. Appreciated Z Clyde. When my internship was over, now I got the offer letter and all that other kind of stuff. After all that wore off, you still had to do the work. But I was no better or no worse than anybody else. But the variable was my effort. I said, I'm here. I'm going to stay in here. I hung on that motherfucker like a tick on a dog's ear. You weren't going to get me out of there without me at least winning. That's where the competitiveness comes in. By the time the internship was over and all the other interns are leaving, going back to school, my project wasn't over. Lane went to the general manager and said, I need Kevin to stay here to work on the project. Thing is, I needed to go back to school. And the general manager said, we can't do that. We can't do it. He has to go back to school. Blah, blah, blah. And Lane said, I need him here. Did anybody watch a movie, Something the Lord Made, with Mos Def and Alan Rickman, where they actually retold the story of how the blue baby syndrome was overcome back in John Hopkins military. Go watch that story where Mos Def was a janitor who wanted to go to medical school, and Alan Rickman basically saw something in this guy, and it's history. They made history. Lane asked me, would it be possible, if I could make this happen, could you stay on for the fall? You're 2 hours away from my school. I got to go back to school full time. And he said, well, if I can pay you what you're making now and you just work on the weekends, can you make that happen? Understand what I'm saying? They wanted to pay me what I was making for 40 hours a week for a 9-hour day. I'm like, this is corporate America, right? I come from fast food and McDonald's. I'm like, how in the hell can you make that happen? But what Lane did showed me that anything is possible. $22.50 an hour. Let's do the math. Let's do the math so nobody gets crazy. $22.50 an hour times 40 hours. I was making $900 a week. I was making $900 a week when just the summer before I was making $134 a week in a funky McDonald's uniform with a polyester uniform and a hat. I was making almost 10 times more. With benefits and shit like that and learning stuff. I said, all right, if you can make that happen, if you can figure out a way to make where I can make $900 a week, working 9 hours, I can do that for you. 2 weeks later, Lane comes back and tells me, we got to figure it out. And I said, I need that in writing. Because you're going to pay me almost $1,000 to work one day. I knew enough to get it in writing because my uncle told me, get everything from these people in writing. I said, all right. And oh, wait, got you a 10% increase. So I went from $22.50 to $25. All right. So I go to school during the week and I drive back to Mobile on the weekends. Got my security badge. Nobody's in there. I'm working in the lab on this project because Lane trusted me enough to where he had to do his stuff with his family. He would come in and check on me from time to time, but I was working on the project, continue to go on. 3 weeks into it, my car breaks down. And he's like, well, what's the problem? I'm like, I'm going to be late. My car's broken down. I'm like, no, we can't have you late. We need you here. I'm like, well, it's 2 hours away. And the amount of money they're paying, I was like, well, I got to get this taken care of, and these tires and whatever. Well, some internships come with company cars. Mobil had just got rid of their company cars. Because when you work for an oil and gas company or a chemical company, oftentimes you have to drive out to the oil fields or drive out to wherever stuff is. They don't want you putting wear and tear on your cars. This was back in the day when company cars still had the company name on them. Mobil Chemical had just got rid of their company cars. Accounting jumped me from $25 to $30 an hour so I could go get a new car. I come from the projects, the ghetto of Oklahoma. I was a smart kid, but I was no smarter than anybody else. But you cannot tell me there is not a God. You cannot tell me that when you're in place, things don't happen. My life has always been, when I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, there's always provision. My freshman year, I was so broke. I had to sell my physics book to put a tire on my car. And I've told stories about how I found people's money on campus. I found people's purse on campus. I didn't keep that money, but I always was okay. And this is some of the payback. So I'm sitting there working $30 $1,200 a week for working 9 hours. Project comes in under time, and they kept me on to December 31st. I say it again, project came in under time. We had finished by November, second week of November, and they paid me out the remaining 6 weeks without even showing the fuck up. Next year, career fair comes up. I have my resume. By this time, I'm a 2.75 student. But guess what? I have my internship stuff on top of it. And every freaking one of the people who recruited higher than Mobil wanted to talk to me. Shell wanted to talk to me now. Chevron wanted to talk to me now. BP wanted to talk to me. Exxon actively recruited me. Exxon, you had to have a 3.0 GPA just to talk to somebody. Mobil Oil wanted to talk to me. See, getting oil and gas was better than chemical because they paid more. Mobil Oil actually made a deal with Mobil Chemical to where Lane was all right with me not coming back for the next semester because the project was over. But Lane, who recruited me off of a dude that was dressed in sweats and a shorts and a sweater and a hat turned backwards, he could have said, no, I want you to come back to us. We the one that gave you the shot, but he didn't stand in my way. He's like, no, go ahead. That's the big time. Mobil Oil said, all right, come on. We're going to pay you. Went back down on the money at the $52,000 a year is what starting engineering students is out. But then I went to work for Houston Oil. Mobil Oil. I was supposed to go to New Orleans, but I ended up in Houston working for the Mobil Heat Team, Houston East Asset Team. And I went from working in the chemical plant to the oil field. And I was working on critical wells, meaning wells that were 15,000 feet or lower. I was a corrosion engineering intern, which was more art than anything else. Different environment, different kind of landscape. This is where I actually start realizing the difference between the divisions. I'm on another internship. And when you're in the oil and gas business, it's a good old boy business. I will fast forward the story. I went to work there. My manager was a white Southern female. And I'm working in East Texas and Southern Louisiana. You would end up in some of the smallest towns in East Texas and Southern Louisiana in the late 80s, 90s with a white woman. No, we would take different cars, but I kept my mind on work. When I'm out in the oil fields, the roughnecks, the drill hands, they didn't want to have anything to do with us city folks or us college boys. But I learned how to connect with the people there because he actually liked my brand. I'm going through this story quickly because Mobile Chemical started, but I continued to go through Mobile Oil. But here's the thing, I was doing great work, but my manager was sabotaging me. And how did I find out about this? Because I didn't know anything about office politics, anything else. I had a great, almost angelic kind of manager in Lane, and I had a demonic kind of manager in, I'm not going to say her name because she's probably still working, but I had a brother from another oil division, and he's like, how's everything going with your manager? I'm like, okay, it's good. He's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah. He's like, and he pulled me to the side. He's like, you know, she's not speaking too highly of you. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, she's not speaking too highly of you. So what did I start doing? I started documenting every conversation I had. I started documenting all of my interactions. So when it was time to finish the project and do the exit interview, I brought all my information because I did exceptionally well on my ending project. And I said, I want to put this in my employee file. On this day, on this time, so-and-so said this about my work. On this day, on this time, so-and-so said this about how I resolved that issue, to where she was praising me in the field, but behind closed doors, she was on that Southern white woman shit. See, there's a way to fix stuff. So when you got time and date stamps, how they make sure you didn't mail it? How they make sure you didn't make any of this shit up? Because every time I wrote a letter to myself, every time I wrote a note, I would mail it from the location. Envelope, time and date stamp, before internet. So when they would show the letter, here's the envelope with the postmark on it. She doesn't work for Mobile anymore. She didn't work for Mobile anymore because that turned out to be really bad for her. Because I was the only engineer that looked like me, and turned out that she had a problem with folks. It happens. But you can't sit around and get pissed off about it. You got to learn what you need to learn and do what you got to do. Internship 1, went to internship 2, went to internship 3. I went to work for Exxon the next year. All those internships set me up for a massive job offer after college. So when everybody else is looking for jobs and trying to get in, not only I was recruited, I didn't have to apply, I was recruited and coming in making more money. That is the power of internship, because you get real world work experience. You go in with a leg up and you can actually negotiate, but you're going to be thrown into the real world. There are no excuses. You got to get the shit done. There is no, I don't know. You got to get it done. If you're in college, position yourself to get an internship. And remember, it's not just about your GPA. It's about who you know and how you can grease those wheels to get yourself in that position. But when you get there, take it. I suggest even take a free internship. Go ask a smaller firm who doesn't have an internship program, can you work for them as an intern for a recommendation, and turn that into a paid opportunity. Going to school thinking you're just gonna go out and get a job, when you're competing against somebody who has internships, clerkships, all that other kind of stuff, you put yourself behind. I don't know if Sean is still in here. People in law school, clerking, you wanna get in there and get as much real world experience as you can, because once you get out of school, it is just work. I worked in the oil and gas business for 1.5 years and I hated it. I absolutely hated it. Because now it wasn't 3 months, it was the year in, year out. I took the job that was going to pay me the most money, but I hated it. So a year and a half into engineering, I've told this story before. I quit my job and I started waiting tables at the Papples Corporation. But I still never lost the experience I gained from interning while I was in college. So if you haven't heard the story, I'll give you the short story. One day while I'm waiting on this couple at Pappadeaux, a husband and wife come in and they were intending to order a salad and dessert. And I talked them into separate salads, appetizers, separate lobster meals, bottle of wine, then dessert. His wife said, honey, I think he'd be a great salesperson. He starts recruiting me and says, I'd like for you to come work for us. And at this time, the company was called MCI, AT&T's #1 competitor. I thought he was joking. I thought he was kidding, because a lot of people with multi-level marketing stuff come in and always try to recruit servers to come in their pyramid stuff. I go work for MCI. I go to meet these people after a lot of back and forth, and they ask me for my resume, and they see all this engineering experience and internships. They recognize they have a possible executive in training. But I started out just like everybody else, telemarketing on the phone in a new industry. 400 people in the call center, but I did not approach it like a call center job. I approached it like an entry-level position into another organization. I want you to ask yourself a question. Anytime you start listening to somebody about taking their, especially they start talking about advice, ask yourself as a man, what's their profession? What's their profession? Because that's how I look at people from a credibility standpoint. What's their profession? I went from an engineer to being a salesperson, telemarketing. There were people on that same floor, sales floor, who were high school graduates who were just in there making money. They were treating it like anything else. I looked at it as an entry-level job into MCI that I could parlay into move after move after move. I'm gonna stop right there. How many of you folks are working in a company that is Fortune 100, Fortune 500, Fortune 1000, and you're just treating your job like a job and not a career move? Do not highlight me. If you want my attention, you super chat it, Ray Alexander. Don't at me, don't highlight me, man. If you want my attention, you put it in super chat like anybody else. Yeah, don't take advice from some people who are less successful than you. So when I went to work for MCI, I approached it like, this is MCI. This is AT&T's #1 competitor. So what, I'm in a call center. People were taking that call center job like it was nothing, because most people never left the call center. But those call centers had managers, had trainers, they had people in there who were making hundreds of thousands of dollars managing salespeople on the phone. But you had people in that call center making $30,000 a year to $90,000 a year. How can that happen? When I came in, I was right at the bottom like everybody else, but I applied myself. And inside of 4 months, I was making almost $10,000 a month on the phone. People coming to work in jeans and a t-shirt. I was coming to work in suits, at least a button-up, tie, and slacks. Imagine this. You go into a call center and you're a top dog. You're making $50,000 compared to somebody that's $30,000. And this new guy comes in and he's in a suit. Why did I come to work in a suit? Because I was there for fucking business. Because I was selling long distance to businesses. I wasn't selling to individuals. And I approached it that way. I'll tell you a quick story. We used to get paid based on every line of service we could flip. A lot of people would take up, this would call through the database and they would call and do a little spiel. No, I decided I figured out around the country. We were calling from New York to California. We had a dialer that would actually call regions. Nope. I went and profiled and I said, what industries, what companies could best use my service? I wasn't letting just a lead come to me. I was actually prospecting on the phone. I was making $10,000 a month working 4 hours a day because I became a fucking inside corporate salesperson while everybody else was, while most people were in there just fucking off. And the funny thing is, when you would make a sale, people would ring a bell, bing, and you'd ring a bell for how many phone lines you get. The average sale was 1 phone line. Ding. Actually, it was 2 phones. It was your phone line and a fax line. But I would call into a company, hey, this is Kevin Samuels. I'm with the local phone company, blah, blah, blah. And I do my whole spiel. And when I got you to say yes, we had a third party company that will confirm that you did it. But I wouldn't just get your phone number and your fax number. I would get your home number. I would ask you if you had cell phone numbers. I convert every goddamn thing you had. Your phone number, your fax number. Do you have an alarm number? Yep. And I would take a 1 phone line customer and turn it into a 10, 12 line deal. And I'm sitting next to Daryl and Ginger, who taught me a lot about this business because they came from a smaller company, but I'm still thinking business. I'm not thinking this is just a job. I see opportunity and there's money, so I'm going to maximize it. And while every 2 weeks, your quota may have been 30 lines, 60 a month, I'm trying to make that every day. To where one day I go in, I make the largest. I actually had a guy tell me, you're not really calling from MCI. I'm like, yeah, I am. Telecom USA is owned by MCI. No, you're lying. I'm like, no, I'll tell you what. I'll fax you a copy of my paycheck and my ID to prove who I am. Swear to God. He said, if you send me a paycheck with MCI on it and your ID, you got this sale. Because honestly, the long distance rates were 20%. They were 80% lower than everybody else. It was 10 cents a minute when people paying 30 cents a minute. It only made sense. This guy had 98 phone lines. He had multiple locations. So I got up one day and did this sale, and I rang the bell 98 times, and you would ring it, ding, ding, and people would like that. So you would hear somebody ringing the bell, and after you ding, 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 ooh, ding, 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 ooh, 7, ooh. When I got up and finished that deal, my manager and the general manager, his name was Mike, they realized that these 3 or 4 people, me, Ginger, Daryl, and Paul, were outselling half the call center. So they let us do what the fuck we wanted to do because it was all good business. But we were thinking something different than everybody else was thinking because we saw opportunity. Sold this sale to where they came over with the freaking microphone. Ding, 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 ding. I did that 98 times, and you could just start seeing people pop up all around the place like, what the fuck? Because it didn't take rocket science, it didn't take a brain surgeon to realize this dude just rang this bell almost 100 times. He made 3 months worth of money in a week because we all made the same amount of money. And they could look and there were multipliers, right? So if you went over quota, you didn't make 100%, you made 120, 150. But at a certain point, you get up to 2, 3. They're like, wait a minute, you're at 700% of plan. So that meant you just made $20,000 when I made 800. You know what the difference was? I was always thinking business from the day one of that internship because all I needed was an opportunity. Give me an opportunity, I'll figure out how to make money. Fast forward, the center ends up closing down because, not closing down, but they end up shutting the call center down and it got moved to a different part of the country. 400 people in there lost their job. But there was a certain segment of those people who were like on the Titanic. the top of the top, I was one of those people. And what they did is they froze wherever you were at that moment, and they paid you out at that number. I was at almost 400% of plan. I got paid out at 400% of plan for 3 months, and I got relocated to Austin. Austin was a different environment than Houston. Fast forward. From that point on, I had done everything I wanted to do. They were trying to convert this center. I wanted a new challenge, so I decided to go outside and look for an outside sales position. There was one in Austin. I got it. I turned it down, and I let my buddy Daryl have it because he had just moved his wife and kid there. Me, Daryl, Ginger, and Christian went there. Paul went somewhere else. Daryl had burned too many bridges because he didn't play the politic game right. I played it better than him. I'm always telling you guys to play politics. Daryl actually was a better salesperson and a better manager, but he burned bridges. I'm bred. If you've been around, you know what I'm talking about. I turned down the opportunity for my buddy. Most people would have said, fuck it, but no, he was actually a friend. How'd I get paid back? Daryl actually didn't get the job he wanted in Austin, so he went up to Dallas to a career fair. And Daryl was such a good salesperson, he talked himself into not a sales job, but a management job. And who do you think the first sales rep Daryl hired was? A little company that I'm not going to say the name of. Daryl was the first manager in Dallas. I was the first sales rep in Dallas. And the regional vice president was the vice president of the guy who used to play baseball, Major League Baseball. Went there and basically went from working for MCI, a company with the massive infrastructure, to a company that paid you a lot of money and no infrastructure. I was like, what's our rate per minute? He wrote it on a sticky note. Go out and sell it. And I went out and sold it. I went out and sold our go-to-market strategy, wireless fiber, and went out and did the job so well to a point. This is the company I almost lost my job in, the one I almost got fired from, because the game had changed. I was making it too complicated. And then I had a guy, John, and another guy, Roger, took me out to that lunch where we did the whole change your mind deal. I want to keep telling these stories. Anyway, I worked for this company for about a year. And it was time for me to get promoted, but they slow rolled the promotion. Another division wanted me. That division started out paying you $60,000. I was making $30,000 as a base salary. The company could not bump you from 30 to 60. They only wanted to pay me $40,000. And I'm like, no. Well, we can only increase you 20%, but we'll get you to 40. The only way I could get 60 grand for this company is I had to quit and reapply and get my stock all over again. So I said, no, thank you. I went to interview with a competitor. They had heard about me. The competitor company said, we'll pay you $5,000 more, but we'll pay you 70% of every sale. So I ended up went to this company and I said, I'm leaving. And I left this company. And even I was such a good employee, they said, could you still go out and close up the accounts? I'm like, I'm going to work for your competitor. And you want me to close up the accounts? Nope. So I went over here and it was a better company. I was making more money over here. I was making 4 or 5 times more money over here than over here. This is the company where I was ranked #1 as the salesperson. When I was in Dallas, I thought I was going to get promoted to either San Francisco or LA, ended up in New York. And that's the New York story I tell. When they wine and dine me on Monday morning, they offered me the job. Who offered me the job when I was in New York? The very vice president that was over the company in Dallas, the Major League Baseball player who hired Daryl, who hired me. He went to become a regional vice president of this company. This is career pathing. This is how people move up through organizations. They move with each other. I was in MCI with Daryl, Ginger, Christian, and Paul. We moved to Austin. Then we moved to Dallas. And no matter who moved, they moved their people with them. And we moved up in title. In Dallas is where everybody's split. I moved to another company, but I was still with Larry. Larry moved to this other company where he was the RVP and I was a major account manager, and he promoted me to manager. This is how you engineer a career. You don't get there by yourself. I'm in New York, district sales manager with Larry. Then I bring on the entire team where 7 out of 8 faces look like mine. And we were the second worst team in the nation and became top 10. So I had a successful team around me that I made. I've told all these stories before. I went from district manager, the next level up was general manager of a city. I did not want that. I did not want to become general manager of a city because I didn't like management like that. So I took a vertical, well, it wasn't vertical, it was a 45-degree move to national accounts. I started going after the Coca-Colas of the world, the McDonald's, the Bloombergs, and all those things. I went to be a high-level salesperson. National account managers were making about $250,000 a year to start. There are only about 10 to 15 of them in any organization. I became a national account manager in a smaller organization instead of trying to go be one at AT&T. Went for national accounts, did such a good job in national accounts. I became VP of national accounts. VP of national account was the one that managed all the national account managers. I managed national account managers. All this started from a goddamn highlighter. So don't tell me that you have to have the highest grades and go to the best school. I went to a state school and I was a middle ranked guy, but it's the relationships. It's the people. Lane saw something in me. I paid Lane back by doing a good job. And on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Now, that's through telecom. I'm going to stop it there because there's more to tell. But are we seeing how even when I left oil and gas and engineering, when I went into sales, it was still a path this way. And it was how you network with people. Let me ask you right now, are any of you thinking about your life that way? Are you thinking about your actual career that way? Or are you just fucking doing a job? Are you, and if you're working for a company that has a brand, Verizon, AT&T, Cox, are you doing anything in that direction? Or are you just doing shit? Are you just doing shit? I'm gonna open it up for questions, but seriously, how do people move up in an organization? You move up through relationships. People open the door for you. And then what do you do when the door is open for you? You open it for other people. Right? Where is that damn picture, man? Sorry, I'm distracted. I'm looking for something. I mean, you open the door up for other folks. Now, it's funny, when I was working at Mobile, that mindset was much more like that because people in there understood that engineering was something you went to college for. But you know what? When I went into sales, funny thing about going into sales is when I went to work for MCI, a lot of people in there, I'd say about 50-50, 50% were in college. 50% of people went to college. When I went to work at the other company, the higher up I went, more guys who just went to community college. It wasn't, none of those guys went to Harvard or MIT or Wharton. They were just regular guys. what is the company that you work for and why? If they have a Fortune 1000, if you work for a Fortune 1000 company, there is opportunity in the brand. The reason you're not moving, the reason you think Verizon, the call center, or even if you're selling mobile phones or whatever, you think it's just, it's just a job, because you're not thinking from a career standpoint. Gentlemen, write in the chat room your profession. In the chat box, I need you to write your profession. Write your profession. What is your title? What is your profession? What is your title? And what is your industry? What? Your opinion, Chicago lady, but I've been in sales to 20. What's wrong with sales? AT&T sales. What sales what? Your professional sales. Sales can be telemarketing, or you can be a national account manager. What is it? Senior programmer at Boeing, contract for government agency, national gas gadget, electrician. Okay. Truck driver, transportation. In a retail store. Okay, see, that's one of those people that you need to be thinking about. Those retail stores, those are just satellites. Who manage? You need to know what the organizational chart looks like for the retail store management, because there's somebody who's making high six figures in that, who manages all those stores. Pharmaceuticals. See, there are people who come to work in those retail stores and they just think of it just a job, but that store has a manager. And then each one of those locations has a regional manager. But the person who manages the regional manager is probably the director. That's where the executive level starts. How much does the director make versus the store manager? The store manager and the salespeople in there are cogs in the wheel, but the director has job security. The higher up you go, the more job security you have. And everybody starts from a position. Becoming a salesperson in a retail store, if you need to go to a competitor to get a job as a manager, and you need to go to another competitor to get bumped up, because more often than not, the company you work for is not going to move you through the chain. You're going to have to leave and go somewhere else. But are you willing to leave the city or state you're in for a promotion? Are you willing to leave the city or state you're in for a promotion? If you're not willing to move, you automatically limit yourself, because you got to wait for somebody to quit or die in your city. Let me say that again. If you are unwilling to move, go ahead and just call your career over. Because if you want to move up, you got to wait for somebody to move, quit, fired, or die. Flexibility. All right, so here's what I want you guys to do. If you guys like these kind of broadcasts where we talk about business, I just talked about my stuff. There's a guy that I actually work with. He's an attorney. I'm telling you, man, for all you guys who are engineers, you know, I have any experience in the finance game. I'm only one person, man. I can only have so much experience in something. Somebody says, I've been stuck in a retail store for 13 years. Oh, man, I need to get, no, come on, man. I need to get you on the stream. What do you mean you've been stuck in a retail store for 13 years? Come on, Ralph, email me. We got to talk, man. Email me. What do you mean you've been stuck at a retail location for 13 years? Who the fuck are you, Al Bundy? Stuck at a retail location for 13 years. What does that mean? Ralph Lauren's mascot. How can you be stuck at a retail location for 13 years? If you love career broadcast, put 5 on it. Go ahead. Because when you get off the road, no, I don't need you to email me off the road. I'm on the broadcast right now. If you love these broadcasts, put 5 on it. Become a member, become a patron. See, here's the Patreon. Because honestly, these kind of things, this is Patreon level information. After the stream is over, I'm gonna take it down and put it on Patreon only for the patrons. And I'm not gonna just change the stream to unlisted to where you have the link. I'm going to completely pull it down, and I'm gonna re-upload it. Who is this guy putting 5 on? Okay, let me go ahead and put you in timeout, Mr. Funny Guy. No, you don't put 5 on it. You put $5 on it. Put $5 on it. I was stuck for 9 months. There's a mama in my water book. See, I'm gonna just go ahead and say this. The reason I hear guys talk about how they were stuck, you're not stuck. You didn't have a fucking plan. You cannot go somewhere and be 13 years and call it stuck. That's a choice. You went to a place for a job and you just quit. You got a job and you make a paycheck. Let's be real. You didn't get every company I went to was for a plan. I said it, you can't be a man without a plan. In engineering, I had a plan. In sales, I had a plan. The thing is, if you're going to work with somebody else, you need to make as much money as you can because they are getting over on you. They are paying you just enough to where you can't quit, but they are do you think I said in my career in sales, I sold in excess of $45 million in products and services. 45 million. If I did that for my own business, I would have at least 10% of that for myself. For every time I sold something, my manager had to eat, the sales engineer, customer service, 20 people had to eat off of what I brought in. Working for somebody else, you should make the most of money and go as high as you can, quickly as possible. Appreciate it. Appreciate the super chats, folks. There's Streamlabs. Yeah, here's Streamlabs. Here it is right here. The Streamlabs pop up. See, when you go to work, let's talk about the guy who says in the retail. You're in a retail store, man, it's lower level. That's fine. I've started lower level. I have another story that I could tell about how I got into office products, starting in a telecom. A retail store location is higher level than a telemarketing center. When you work with people who telemarket, they got to badge in, badge out, log into a phone system. Some of these telemarketing centers, they even have their bathroom break scheduled because they got to just stay on the phone like beasts of burden. You don't have a career plan. You didn't actually say, what's the next step? 13 years? So this guy comes in and asks, what's more important, having body or style? What's more important is knowing where you're at and what the conversation is. Come on, man. Really? I'm having a conversation about career planning. What's your opinion on careers where you have to work with someone else? I'm pursuing an airline pilot career, which pretty much guarantees, hey man, you always got to start working for somebody else. But the deal is this: you give up your time, your creativity, your youth for their experience. You got to be getting something back other than a paycheck. If you're going to become an airline pilot for somebody else, don't just be a pilot. Learn about the business. Learn about what happens outside the cockpit. Learn about the entire business. Learn what would need to happen in order for you to own your own fleet. If you got a question, you're going to put it in Super Chat. There are 200 some odd people in here, and this is business. You got a question? Put it in Super Chat. You just sent me an email. Okay. Hey, look, working for somebody else is fine. Everything I just talked about was me working for somebody else. But I was learning more than just my job. So it put me in a position to be able to work for myself. Let me go ahead and see what's going on. All right. Yeah, see, I'm not one of these people that shits on people that work for anybody else. Never that. I don't see an email in here for you, Ralph. What's going on, Sterling the Investor? See, this is what I need. This is what I need. For my guys who are in finance or something like that, I need to have I want to talk to my financiers. I want to talk to my attorneys. I want to talk to my people in trucking and logistics. I want to talk to my people who are in real estate. If you want to represent, if you want to get on a panel and talk with me and represent your industry, this is what I need you to do. Give me a call, because I'm not everything. I'm a sales guy. I'm a sales guy, and I'm an engineer, and I'm an image guy. I'm the craziest shit out here, right? I'm an engineer. I'm an engineer, sales, image. If you want to represent your industry, let's talk. I want to bring you guys on individually and collectively to where we can have business podcasts. So we can put this information out and let it be evergreen, because there are college students that are listening to this. There are people in their career, people who are thinking about career changes. So let's talk. People have been asking me to do a podcast. So you don't have to see me to do this, but let's talk, man, because we have too much information about us. Roxy W, I need to get a hold of you, Chica. I'm doing the women's event. I'm moving to Atlanta, and I'm gonna do the women's event in Atlanta. So you need to bring your Houston cell phone down there. Come on, girl. Come on, Roxy. Come on. How many of you guys want to see Roxy W come to Atlanta for the women's event? Y'all remember her? Y'all remember Roxy W? Roxy, do you got a second? Do you have a second? Because you're in medical sales, right? I've been on my birthday behavior. You have a second? Okay, Roxy, let's talk. Okay, I want you on for about 15 minutes. Let's talk about moving into sales. And then let's move on, because I haven't seen anything from Ralph. You know what? Let me do this. I'm gonna just go ahead and do this. I got the link right here. I'm gonna copy the URL. Here you go. Here you go. Roxy, go ahead and join in the link right here. So your godfather has been using Zoom for almost a year now. Zoom is new to everybody else, but I've been using this. Okay, Gregory. While I'm waiting, I started in retail telecom. That's too long. Yep. While we're waiting, guys, MIT Dallas is coming up. In order to attend MIT Men in Training, the field trip, you have to be a patron. And honestly, why would you not want to be a patron? You got to be a patron because I put all the information over on Patreon. And even if you want to wait till the very last minute, because as it gets closer to the date, the price goes up. Patreon is a great value because you get a bunch of information from behind the scenes. Also my Instagram and Facebook. A lot of that vlogging stuff is going to be on Instagram and Facebook because I can't do quick one hits like I can do on Instagram and Facebook. If you want to attend, if you like what happened in Atlanta with the men, wait till you see what's going to happen in Dallas with an even bigger, with an even, I don't want to say bigger, with a better group of men, because now to be the second go round for a lot of these guys. If you want to attend, it's first come, first serve, and it goes to clients and patrons first. And if you want to sit back and say, you know what, I'm thinking about attending, I got to wait for this. Don't wait. This is business. If you're interested in talking to me about your image, or you're interested in getting coaching, whether it's career, life, hit me up. Or if you just want to ask my advice, there is the advice line. Which patron membership? What do you mean, which patron membership? It's Patreon. There's not a level that you have to be at. I mean, it's at least at the $5 level. But $5 is one thing, 10, 20, most, pick the level you want to be at. But $5 is the entry level stuff. Okay. Because we've talked about career. What we have not talked about is how to make sure you're making the right amount of money. Far too many people are not making the right amount of money when they're working for somebody else. So when you go to work for yourself, you don't charge enough. I hate to see people working for and not getting their value. All right, well, dude, you said you emailed me a minute ago. There it is. There's a connection. So whichever one pops to y'all, whichever one of you guys pops in the waiting room first. Let me take up this and let's start talking. All right. See, going to college or getting your certification, your training is only one part of it. When you're working for somebody else, they're going to work you as they should. And your negotiation should be short-term with a company, and it should be beneficial to you. See, let's say if I had someone come work for me as an apprentice, I would expect them to be leaving me as soon as possible to become a competitor. They're going to come try to learn as much from me as possible. And in turn, I'm going to get my value out of them. Mentorship. You getting a mentor is a must for a top 20 guy, for a top 10 guy. But you cannot go get a mentor from, you can't have a stranger be your mentor. Mentorship costs. See, far too often we're trying to do things cheap. That's the real talk of it. Far too often we're trying to, you get, in life, you get what you are, not what you want. And a mentorship is a two-way street. A mentor did not work their ass off in their life to just sit down and give you information for free. Doesn't work like that. As a consultant, as an image consultant, as a corporate image consultant or personal image consultant, the main thing that I give back to anybody is time. When I work with somebody, I give you time back. because you don't have to go out and learn everything that I had to learn. I can give you years. Okay, I've sent out, the Sith rule of two, exactly, Intel. That's it. That's the way it is. It's the Sith rule of two. I expect, I'm Palpatine, you're Vader. Actually, Plagueis and Palpatine. That's the way it's supposed to be, though. The thing is, you're not going to kill me. You're just going to go start your own shit. So when I get guys sending me emails saying, I would love to talk to you, and I don't know you, sending me or anybody a blank email talking about how much you want to learn is pointless. You sound crazy. You're a complete stranger to these people. And you're just basically sending up saying, and this is what your email is saying. Hey, I want you to tell me everything I need to know for free. That's what your message really is. Hey, you're successful. I want to know everything you know, and I want to know it for free, and I hope you're dumb enough to give it to me. That's what your emails say. I don't care how nicely you word it. I love what you do, Godfather, and I appreciate this, and That is that's what we read. What? Oh yeah, I know my Star Wars lore, and I hope these latest leaks for episode 9 are not true. All right, I'm not seeing anybody in the waiting room, so I don't know what's going on. Roxy and Ralph, I will give you 5 more minutes. People are willing to pay for what they value. That's right. And let's talk about some career path cologne. Bond number 9, Shea Bond. When you dress like a professional salesperson, these are corporate career power brands. Green Irish Tweed, Bond number 9, Shea Bond. Let me talk about some more. All these are straight up corporate powerhouse fragrances. Chanel Egoise, Tom Ford Grey Vetiver. Believe it or not, Bleu de Chanel Parfum, the new Dior Sauvage Parfum. Ormond Jane Man and Royal Oud. These are executive fragrances. See, Lane got something back from me because he needed to get his project. What's going on, Roxy? Can I hear you? I hope I can hear you. Let me see. Just a second. There we go. I can hear you. What's going on?
Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Hey.
Hey. Can you
Listen,
guys hear?
I was doing happy hour, but I cut it short for you.
All right, that's right. She's selling right now, guys. She's selling.
I work hard and I play hard, so.
Right. Now, let me make sure that I can hear you on this side. Is today your birthday?
No, it was actually September 1st.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. It was September 1st?
Yes.
Well, happy belated birthday.
Thank you. I was on my little birthday behavior, missing a lot of the lives, but I've been catching up on the downside, so.
Okay. Oh, okay. There's Roxy. All right. So, being in sales, how has sales impact? What has being in sales done for your life on a personal side and on a professional side?
Personally, it has given me the relationship connections that I probably wouldn't have had in an office setting. So you make your relationships at work based off of your environment. And so when you're in an office setting, those are the people that you know, you love. It's an upside to that and the downside. One, they kind of become your family, but the upside to it is you don't have to see the same people every day. Literally, I'm out seeing people who I want to see, who I feel bring me value. So if someone hasn't brought me value, then I'm probably not seeing them as often. And
Right.
so that's personally, it has generated a lot of connections, and it's a small industry. So if someone's word is good for me and I'm looking to further my career by moving into another field or area, then they can kind of help open that door for me as well. So that's kind of the professional meets personal benefit of it.
And I think that one of the things that's very underrated is the fact that you don't have to stay around your coworkers every freaking minute of the day. You can actually
Completely agreed.
do work. So, have you ever thought about one day stepping out and starting your own business?
I'm actually in the process of starting an online boutique that I would like to turn into a brick and mortar. I'm
Okay.
still working on the business plan, and the 5-year goal for it is to turn it into a brick and mortar once I start it.
You just gave me an idea for the women's event. Huh.
What's that? I'll tell you, we can talk offline about the women's event. There's a lot of things that you got to address from a woman's standpoint, because there's more emotional barriers that are involved than there are with men. So.
Oh yeah, well, you know, I started off coaching and working with women, but cool. You know, you're on happy hour. I just wanted you to get on and say that. Are you still in the parking lot? Or are you going back in?
No, I checked out, and I'm getting ready to run to my hotel, and then I'm gonna go do dinner around 7:30. So I'm in Austin right now.
Okay. Well, thanks for popping on. I got a couple of more people, but we should talk. I'll try to give you a call later on. Let's just try to touch base. I don't know what you just said. You kind of borged out. Okay. Thanks, Chica. All right. Thank you. She's out there. All right. Take off, hold. All right. That was Miss Roxy W. We're going to go ahead and put Ryan in. Ryan. Hello? Hello? Ryan. Hello? Man. Come on, dude. Ask you to start your video.
Yeah,
yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, okay, I can hear you now.
Are you the guy who was in retail for 13?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, so you say so tell us how you got stuck in retail.
Okay, like I said, I started with AT&T in a retail store 13 years ago. So I would probably say about 2 years into it, I tried to get into a management position, and I wasn't able. I didn't get to. I tried multiple positions, locations, and it didn't work out. So I kind of got discouraged. So about a year after that, I kind of held back, and then so now we're on like year 4. So at that time, I was going to try again, but at that point, the assistant managers at the time where I was getting paid more than them because their pay went down, and if you're one of the top sellers, those sellers are getting paid more than an assistant manager.
Right.
So I didn't see the point of making a move at that point. Then I did go back to school. I was in school getting my bachelor's. I was in there. It was part-time, so I was in that route for a while. I was able to finish in 2017, and then like a couple months ago, I just finished my MBA. So now, so it's like I got I got my education. Obviously I got the tenure. So now it's kind of like I get frustrated.
Let me ask you a couple of questions. Let me ask you: are you married?
No.
Any children?
Yes.
Okay. So first pass, when you tried to make it into management and it didn't work, initially, I would have said you should have seriously thought about going to a competitor. AT&T, go to Verizon, go to T-Mobile. If you're saying it didn't work for like internal political reasons. But let me also address something at this. You said something that always happens. The top salespeople are always going to make more money than managers, but you have less security because you got to keep running. See, that's the thing. Top salespeople tend to just look at money, and you're looking at money at the entry-level manager position. You said the assistant manager. Tell me what the director makes.
The director probably, I would probably say like 120-ish.
And then tell me what stock options, tell me the benefits package of a director. See, that's the difference. We can't just think one chess move ahead. I always took a pay cut when I went from major account sales to manager. That is always, but you get more stock, more benefits. And then you said you decided to go to school to finish your bachelor's and get your MBA. So that's about what, another $50,000 in investment?
Right.
All right. For what?
I mean, that's why I feel right now, you know, and I kind of feel. I'm
saying for what?
Oh, so for what? Yeah. So the other positions within AT&T, right before I decided to get my degree, like for business sales and things of that nature, it required you to have some type of degree.
Bullshit.
So
bullshit. Hold on. I work for AT&T.
Okay.
That's what they say is required, but it's not a hard requirement.
Okay.
I've worked with too many people for MCI and AT&T who did not have college degrees. So if you went to get a degree, who told you inside of AT&T that in order to get promoted, you must have a bachelor's and an MBA?
Well, it wasn't an MBA. It was at least a bachelor's degree.
So they told you you couldn't get promoted because you didn't have a bachelor's.
Right.
Okay.
At the time, yes.
Okay. I would just say that my career and what I know about that is not a hard requirement. But let's move on. The MBA. Why did you decide to do that?
I figured that, you know, I finished in 2017, and I was already in the grind of school. So I was like, hey, you know what? I might as well just go ahead and, you know.
So nobody actually advised you on that. You just did
not on that, no.
Okay, so I'm gonna use this as a teaching moment. Guys, additional schooling is rarely ever the variable that's required. It's just, it's usually a comfort point to make us feel more confident to move forward. Dude, I will tell you that all the jobs I've had, the higher up I went, these people were not Wharton educated, Ivy League educated. They got shit done. If you can go back into your career and you didn't get promoted to manager, and you just said it, you said the most critical thing, you kind of got depressed or you gave up. And what did I say? You should have looked at opportunities outside of that company and go compete with them. I mean, you can't, what I'm saying also is this, you can't undo the bachelor's and the MBA, but I would tell you this, if you think that's going to get you significantly more money because you have those two things, you're going to be so disappointed. Because especially in sales, that doesn't make a damn bit of difference. It matters how much you've added to the bottom line.
Got you.
I mean, just be honest. Because
I appreciate that.
Well, because you're in sales. So it's not like if your quota was $100,000 for a year and you sold 80, but you went to U of H and got an MBA, you still came in at 80% of plan. Versus if I went to Jasper State and I came in at 250%, they're not going to discount that. In sales, it's about what you do. So I would say this: you've invested significant money into your bachelor's and MBA. It doesn't sound like that's going to really affect your career path, as it wasn't a requirement to do that. That's just, honestly, it's probably a waste of money, if I'm just going to be honest. Especially, how old are you?
I'll be 37 next month.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you've been there for 13 years?
Yeah.
What's your official job title?
Retail sales consultant.
So you're you are a 37-year-old retail sales consultant with an MBA, and all you really needed to get that job was a high school diploma. That's the net of it. So going out into the market, let me switch it from you. How many times have you heard a woman talk about she got an education and she's this and she's got her career, but then she wants a man who's a 10, but she looks like a 4. And then she tries to throw in her education and her all that stuff. Does it make her more sexually desirable?
No.
Then that's the same position you're going to find yourself in.
Got you.
All right, man. Do you have any questions for me?
So yeah, I got one. So I have been trying to not only look at other opportunities, but in other arenas, other career paths. Okay. And I think I feel like I'm stuck there because I've been in that position for so long. The only experience I have is that. Right. So it's like, where do I go from there if I'm trying to go into a different arena?
Well, first of all, this is a thing that a lot of people find themselves in. Okay. Working for one organization for so long, the only thing I talked about this yesterday on Instagram. You have 13 years experience, but it's really probably 13 years of the same 1 year. So you just, a lot of times people their money has outpaced their skill set. So what you really need to do is have an evaluation of how valuable are you really? I mean, like you're in a retail environment. Do you know how to actually go out and be an outside salesperson, to actually prospect, manage funnels, really go in? Because that's where the money is, going out and doing what Roxy did. Your job starts when somebody walks in the door and says they want something. My job starts when I go knock on the door to kind of sell something.
Gotcha. No, I haven't done that. I mean, we kind of like, for example, if the customer does come in the store, but I try to, as far as uncovering small business opportunities, they're coming in for one thing, but trying to, so that's I would say that's kind of the same thing.
No. See, a retail sales environment is the lowest level of sales. A customer is driven to your location for a reason. An outside salesperson, they're doing their business or their life, and I come into that to sell something. That's why these people make more money. See, you'd be a great candidate for career coaching because you should have the money to actually pay a coach to actually tell you the truth of where you are. It sounds like you have 13 years of earning, and and that money you paid for college and MBA sounds like a loss to me, because additional college and schooling doesn't matter a damn thing to being a professional salesperson. It's can you get the signature on the contract? And what I'm talking about is a completely different sales. You are going to, if I just had to take a guess, you're going to have to start at the entry level. And that's going to be hard to do at 37 with an MBA because you feel like you should have more, but your actual skills say you don't.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. So basically, you know, going, you know, looking up positions that are entry level and then kind of starting from the ground up from there. Starting over.
Well, because you, I mean, if you want to stay in sales, you, like I said, you're in a location to where either you're going to have to wait for somebody to die, quit, get fired. I mean, you're not moving up where you are. It's a dead end. So you're going to have to go somewhere else. So you're going to have to go to another retail place and do this whole thing again, or go somewhere else and look for an outside sales position. If I'm a manager and I'm looking to hire somebody, even though you have 13 years experience, 37 college degree MBA, I still got to ask myself, can this guy do the job? Can this guy get up every day and go knock on 50 strangers' doors and get somebody to say yes on a consistent basis to make my number? And there's nothing in your history that says you're any better of a shot at it than the entry-level person I hired right out of college or right out of high school. More likely, you're going to be more difficult to manage because you're almost 40 and you have too much schooling. You'll be harder to train because you think you know more. That's the kind of stuff career coaching and planning can kind of try to help level set you to where you can actually start taking advantages of opportunities. Because what city are you in?
St. Louis.
See, you're in a major city. You can actually correct this inside of 12 months, but you got to know where you stand and what to kind of go tackle. And nobody's going to just do that for you in depth for free.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, I'll do some research on career counseling. That sounds like a good idea. I appreciate you.
All right, then. Thank you.
All right, thank you. No problem.
All right. Thanks, Ryan. So, guys, I'm going to go ahead and understand this. Going back to school is never the answer. It's never, especially if you're in sales, it's never the answer. Schooling is for your first position. And after your first position, you got to do the work. Think back when I told this story when I worked in mobile and I worked with Lane. I got a shot with Lane and then I made most happen. And then when opportunity got cut off when I was in telecom and they didn't want to move me up, what did I do? I quit and I went to work for a competitor. You can't stand dead in relationships. You got to continue to move. Because if you don't continue to move, what happens is year over year over year, you'll continue to make more money, but you're not learning anything anymore. And then you look up and you're 5-10 years into it and your money has outpaced your skill set. That's why you find a lot of people who leave executives and then they get fired from a company and they can't find a lateral or an increase because they think they're more. Think of it like this in a relationship. You're a married man or married woman. You've been in a relationship with a person. You got 10 years into it. You got 10 years into it. You bought a house, a car, you got 3 kids. You've moved here, you moved there. Then you get a divorce. You go out on a dating market. None of what you did at your previous relationship fucking matters to the person you're looking at. They're looking at how hot you are as a woman and how successful you are as a man. Then all the other work was for somebody else. And oftentimes, if you're a woman, the things you had that should have brought you value in your previous relationship are a liability in the dating market. That's why if you're a woman and you're about years in it, marriage and a kid, you need to stay with the motherfucker you're with because people out in the work world don't want that responsibility. They want to be a stepdad. Don't want a woman that's had 3 kids for another man. Oh, I'll go get a hotter, younger one because they're easy to deal with. All right. There you go. Successful people keep it pushing. Let me see. I gotta go pick up my car, man. It's ready to go. Hope you guys like these kind of streams. If you do, if you like these kind of streams and you want to see more of this kind of content, how you say thank you is become a patron of the channel. How you say thank you is join the channel. Hit the join button, because when I do more of these broadcasts, they're going to be shorter. And I'm going to have member-only chat. So make sure I got answer these questions. What I think of Imtelic says, what I think of Joe Malone, Marion Tonka, I think it's fucking incredible. I think it's an incredible fragrance. All right, folks, appreciate it. Like I said, this will be available for rebroadcast on Patreon. I'm pulling it completely off of YouTube, so even if you have the link, it's not going to work. If you want to see the rebroadcast, you will have to join Patreon. Thank you to all the patrons that make this kind of stuff possible. Without you guys, I wouldn't actually have the time. I wouldn't actually be as motivated to do this kind of stuff. Appreciate it. Until next time, talk at you later. Deuces.